Hey radiant souls, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another session. It has been a little longer since our last session, and it was intentional because some of the last sessions I think we were tapping into this energy of closing out major life cycles and beginning new. And one of the things that I have used personally through my own evolution, consciousness journey, enlightenment journey, awakening, whatever term we may want to use, and for many of my one-to-one clients, is to unplug from the mass consciousness. And that includes healers, teachers, or whoever you're working with, because in times of major transitions, you have to allow that space for your own experience to distill, to integrate, and to allow the mind, body, and the consciousness or the spirit or the spiritual evolution to become one. And usually the body takes the longest to catch up, so you probably experience these periods of tiredness, or you experience these periods of foggy, dreamy states. And of course there is a lot that goes on in the universe in terms of cosmic cycles, and of course we see the physical world around us changing rapidly during these transition times. And allowing, and this is not for everyone, of course, whoever is resonating with these series that I do, or tap into this kind of spiritual healing, which is not predictive but more a resonance of where you are on your journey, you will know, or you have known this already, that allowing yourself to unplug from the consciousness, from the YouTube videos, from listening to others, because people are in different frequencies, so they will channel. And whether they are channeling a reading, that includes me, by the way, you know, if you have gone ahead with your own evolution, you are in a more peaceful frequency, and I am channeling because the larger collective consciousness is at the point of still letting go, you know, shadow energies, and you tap into that and you think you kind of align but not quite, and it unnecessarily disturbs your personal frequency. So I am conscious when I see a pattern in my sessions of a lot of cosmic challenges that repeatedly bring out the shadows. I like to give it a little pause, because one of the things that's my spiritual principle that I follow is not, even though it is helpful to work on shadows, and not just helpful, it is necessary to work on our shadows, it is also pertinent for us to remember when to unplug, when not to feed the same frequency, so that we can rest our nervous systems, our minds, our frequencies that have spent such long time in one set of state of being, that we need a break away, we need a clean slate, and there will be a period of void. And that void is sometimes about just doing your physical world, living day to day, and unplug from spiritual work or consciousness journeys. And so anyway, that was a long way to explain what is helpful on journeys. If it resonates with you, take it, otherwise you know what to do. So what we are going to do today in the journey, and I feel the change in the energy. Okay, we had two cards. I feel the change in the energies now, and it has been a little gap, so I am trying to tap into the collective energy to find helpful guidance and messages. The first pile is again, what we are leaving behind, what we have come out of. And when I read the messages, if you still feel that you are still working out of this, or this energy is still, like you want to sit with this energy, that means you're still working with that energy. For others, since this is a collective one, you will know when you listen that you just got out of that frequency to open new energies. And I invite those new energies to come and show us what is the helpful energy of the universe that is available for us now, to step into our new, to step into the big, to step into our authenticity. Okay, perfect. Radical transformation, karmic release. So the energies that we are coming out of is self-sabotage, destruction, doubt, survival habit, and numb one. Disconnection, emotional freeze, avoidant, coping. Okay, so that's a lot of energy in terms of our shadow frequencies, or the survival states that many deep journeyers work through, to go and unearth deep inside where our self-sabotaging behaviors are. And the viewer who is tapped into this definitely has worked a lot of deep cycles where they have identified self-sabotaging behavior, where it may have been handed down to you as part of your family patterns, lineage energy, or dysfunctional patterns where you hit the roof. Like every time you work on something good, you go and find an upper limit where you stop. Or if that upper limit is not externally imposed on you, the doubts, the survival habits creep in, and you start questioning, do I really deserve this? Is this real? And then even, you probably throw away even the well-earned or the perfectly stable new jobs, new relationships, new money, or new friendships that come because there is an internal frequency that had worked inside of you, which had always led you to self-sabotage. And this may also have come from inner child wounds, early childhood trauma, either acute or chronic passive trauma that had come from being born into dysfunctional families, or your caregivers or primary family members who took care of you and raised you modeled that behavior of destruction, doubt, survival habits. So that when we call them these low frequencies, because to dream and to float in a state of dream and possibility and love and ease, working in collaboration with others, trusting with others, it needs big, expansive heart energy. And the reason we close down those innate frequencies in us, which are there for all of us, but we self-sabotage because we had to survive with the minimal. We had to just kind of make do with what was available. Either it's war situation, either it's a family crisis, either it's a parental loss or a dysfunctional home where you had to do the bare minimum, receive the bare minimum to just get by in life, or it is a poverty in the family, or it's a disease in the family that had kept all resources limited. So whatever are your individual situations, or if you didn't have a lot of those active in this lifetime, sometimes it's the memories and the characteristics we carry in our DNA and our epigenetics, and the behaviors and the characteristics still run in us. Or sometimes this can also come from when there was an early childhood parental loss, then all these behaviors of wanting to not show up or wanting not to succeed and try because you make a silent pact or bonding with the parent who lost their life early. You know, all kind of those situations that are applicable, you can go back and connect why we develop those self-sabotaging behavior. So you, the journeyer, has done a lot of those deep shadow work to identify where you had behaviors that compelled you and pushed you towards destruction, self-doubt, survival habits, and thereby you sabotaged your joy, your resources, your abundance in this lifetime. So this I called upon in the space of the past, what we are coming out of. So you know when it resonates for you that you have done deep self-work to identify that, and now you have released that. And this one is just kind of correlated to that, or it's kind of a basket of where, because of these deep work of destruction and survival state frequencies that you come from, also the numbing, the emotional freezing and avoidant coping, to cope with that, how you have numbed, how if there were betrayals in relationships, that means your emotional needs were not seen or heard, or your emotional needs were kind of not put as a priority by your family, by your parents, by yeah, I'm sorry, I think the camera cut off at some point, so I'm gonna just continue with it, that now we came out of this energies of numbing, self-sabotaging, identifying through deep shadow work those energies. We have done a karmic release, and we are now sitting in the energy of radical transformation. And this energy is what I started referring to at the beginning as the energy that needs space, that needs time with ourselves and our bodies, in our in reframing our thoughts, in reframing the way our bodies act and react, the nervous system, and settling down our daily habits, in allowing the space between what is happening, what has gone by, and what is coming. So that reframing of the mind, body, and the energy frequencies is the time we are in. And that chamber of the violet flame, the karmic release and radical transformation, as the opening portal, just reaffirms that for the viewer who is watching this, that you've done the work, you're allowing yourself to go through this radical transformation, and the new over the summer months will pick up. So part of, I think, this transformation is also learning how to allow the new, the easy, the spaciousness. When you come from this energy, allowing that is also a learning, right? Because you've come from survival habit, avoidant coping, emotional freeze, disconnection, destruction. So these words signify the frequencies which were dense, which were keeping us in a run all the time, just go, go, go mode. And that does wonders and numbers on our physical bodies, on our nervous systems, on how we cannot sit relaxed when the pace becomes slow. So this transformation here, and since I sensed that in the last sessions that I was doing for the collective, I decided to also space it out for the collective, as I always allow for myself, that unplug from those collective frequencies, sit with yourself so that you can allow the new. And now I am inviting the new, the easy, the softness that is yours, that is your highest frequency, all of our highest frequency. And the more we allow and do this work on ourselves, the more we invite that in the collective space. Finding your way. When your feet seem to lead you one way and your head says to go a different way, Tune into your heart. I will guide you there, helping you to see my signs and most easily find your way on your beautiful life journey. And that is the essence of this work, this transformation, to listen to that guidance, to listen. So this guidance is, you can refer to this as divine, the cosmic, the source, the universal energy, God, the feminine energy, the divine mother, or the divine father, the masculine energy, whoever you resonate, your own higher self. But this is who you listen to when you slow down and you see those signs and you see that way being shown to you, and it does not need this excessive thoughts and paralysis and analysis paralysis and all those things that we have been through coming from those frequencies. So that's like the opening energy, past energy, opening energy, where we are going. I am just going to use different decks to now anchor this energy as a beautiful new energy for us to sit into. So no particular order, but all these decks are basically blessed and spoken into for bringing the messages of love, power, personal power, wealth and abundance, creativity to the viewer now. Okay, the divine metrics, interconnectedness, synchronicity, God incidences. So the new angelic frequency, angels are here, you're safe, potent connection. So the new is all powerful. The new is all about new love, new God incidences, creating your new metrics, which is weaving your past and the future through your present moment. And when I say that, it's because you are at this point right now going through this radical transformation, which is thanking your past self for all the lessons, all the challenges, all the hard lessons that you have gone through that has made you who you are today. And that has come not easy, hardly anything to say that, oh, this was a path I would take again. Some of our lessons are so deep, so painful, that we felt the need to disconnect from our physical bodies, from our emotions. So these are hard learnings, you know, soul learnings, but they have led us to, through this transformation, to find our way to the beauty, and that has allowed us to now not be fearful of anything, to let go any self of ours that is small, that has learned to become shrink in size, to become comfortable both for ourselves and for others, to want less, to not cause chaos, the positive kind of chaos that leads to change, that leads to transformation. We have become afraid of that, but now we have lost those fears because we have dealt with those shadows. We have sat through our discomfort for so long to allow these divine synchronicities to come. And now that heart fire, now our fears are melted through the fires of transformation that we have allowed ourselves to go through. And these powerful transformation of the violet flame and the heart fire has allowed us now to step into our true desires, to step into the path of beauty and love and grace and ease and joy, the swan energy. Yes, so I wanted to draw cards to signify, to sense where love is around us, and we have both the heart fire, and you also see this very beautiful swan energy that is you know, the peace, the serenity, the purity, and also swan signifies the swan self, you know, Paramahansa. And that means that we have been able to integrate our consciousness with our higher self, higher heart. So there is love, which is now united with our angelic self, with our divine self, with our higher heart, that never extinguishes the light, the fire, the passion, the purity that was always within us. Now we are looking for signs to ride that wave. So let's bring a little more messages of creativity, of new talents, of new opportunities, new creative projects that you are looking and to bring, that speak to you authentically, that depict your authenticity and your purpose in life. Free from judgment, free to love. So there is a lot of heart space that has opened up because of this transformation, and we see the swan, heart fire, free from judgment. So you may be dropping a lot of shields and cloaks that you have worn to protect yourself through these times of survival, where betrayals, not being understood, not being seen, being neglected, emotional neglect, emotional betrayal, being used, manipulated, all kinds of energies you have been through to find this transformation now. And now you have set yourself free from judgment, and now you are here to love. You are just here to love all it is, all that is, all parts of you, all parts of others. And that does not mean you become a doormat. What it means is you see the connection between events and synchronicities. You see the connections between what has happened in the past on what is happening now, and thereby you can see or predict or feel that intuitive knowing of what is coming to you in future. And surrendering your fixed plans, surrendering your fixed opinions is what has allowed you to let the strong grip of these disconnections leave you. And now you are free from those self-judgment and judgment of others. You're just free to love what comes your way. That's surrender, that's serenity, that's acceptance, and you now have it. And that's where, when you are in this state, this is the high frequency. When you are in a state of surrender, you're flowing with the universal design, and the divine and the universe and the cosmos can bring you more magic, more God incidences when you are in that high state of frequency, when you are not micromanaging, when you are not fearful of the new and the disruption and the change. You don't need to hide, you don't need to avoid, you don't need to run away, and you don't need to judge others or situations from a place of fear. Those states of higher acceptance and serenity are the high frequencies that the divine and the universe seeks to provide to us freely, without limit, and a lot of abundance, new love, powerfully aligning you with what is truly yours. And now you are in that field. So we're going to see a couple of more paradigm shift. How beautiful. I also associate this deck in my prayers as the masculine energy. So you have a paradigm shift. Though actually the figure is a feminine figure, but it is, I associate the whole deck with the masculine energy in my practice. So if it has any meaning for you, you can associate that. But we do have a confirmation of our affirmations that we have been channeling through this session, that we are now experiencing paradigm shift and an invitation to connect with our divine, invitation to connect with our divine source. And that's where you also need to unplug from the mass consciousness to sit in your own consciousness, to channel your own intuition. And we are now channeling Kuan Yin, Mother Kuan Yin, the Tao. The Tao is basically the feminine energy, the grace, the serenity, the receiving energy rising. And the Tao, the philosophy of Tao, is also about allowing, being without defining a lot. And so that energy is high now. That's where we are landing, right? That the paradigm shift is basically taking us to the rise in the Tao, the state of being, the allowing of the divine mother energy. Sorry, this is shining here. Okay, we'll keep it there. And then one last card I want to channel for today's session, which is from the Isis Oracle, and I invite and pray to the Divine Mother to bring us a message of blessing, message of hope, message of guidance for the collective, to see what is it we need to see to feel supported in our journeys through this transformation, the radical transformation that we are experiencing, either to stabilize, anchor, or to raise our frequencies. And that also is the energy I invite in, to seal and anchor this energy for the collective who is viewing it today. So as they go away from this session, they will feel the power of this energy surrounding them through this transformation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, 2 cards came because my fingers picked 2 cards. Let's see what came. Oh, wow. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Okay, very powerful. So let me put it this way, because I think I picked them up this way. So Spirit of Isis, Triumph of the Goddess, Divine Destiny, Path of the Divine Warrior. So that is the culminating energy for today. And you know, some of you, or those of you who have a personal association with the goddess Isis, or any dark deity you work with, or dark mother. And when I say dark, that means those spiritual ascended masters who have the power to transform from one state into another, from the state of dark shadows to the state of light. And so whether it's goddess Kali or goddess Isis, and there will be others in other spiritual practices who are strongly associated with such deep shadow work. And so when I invoke Mother Goddess Isis blessing, and we receive the message of the triumph of the goddess and path of the divine warrior, it is just a final confirmation of this message that we got, messages that we got today in our session, flowing from this side, that we have gone from our deepest, darkest shadows to show us the strength, to show us what our true desires are, to show us what we truly were wanting to be led to, where we wanted to be led, what desires are sitting so deep inside that we had stopped recognizing because we were disconnected from our true desires, because we became fearful, and we were deprived from our highest state because of our self-sabotaging behaviors, you know, that were either handed to us, or we developed them through our own trauma and learned behavior. We have transmuted those, transformed those, to find our way into ease, into victory, into abundance. We're experiencing this paradigm shift, rise in our energy of Tao, the feminine principle, and we have the triumph of the goddess, the feminine principle, who is fierce, whose gentleness and feminine strength is in their softness. So you don't have to exude the unnecessary mental energy, you don't have to exude power over others, but by remaining true into your swan nature, into your heart, in releasing the judgment, now you are in your divine destiny. You are being led by her, you are being led by your higher self, and you are on the path of your divine destiny. You're the divine warrior, and you have triumphed. Whether you are a man or a woman or any other gender that you identify with, this is the triumph of the goddess in you. This is the triumph of the spirit of Isis in you, who has always resurrected herself from no matter what darkness she has faced. She has found a way with her intellectual wisdom, with her spiritual wisdom, with her strategy, with her cleverness, with her astute observation, with her planning, with her patience, and then with her ferocity to cut out what is no longer viable in her journey forward. So you have now imbibed this energy in you, and your divine destiny is upon you. So that is a very, very powerful session that we had today, and I hope the viewer who is tuned in for this collective, you have found something to resonate, and you have found this helpful in some way. And as always, if you like to receive these messages as I feel called, please hit a like or subscribe and leave a comment if you feel, and spread the word, spread the joy to others who may need guidance or who may need to hear this message at this time. So thank you, and stay powerful. We will meet you on the next one. Bye bye. Take care.